It is always a pleasure to check in with Milton MP, Adam Van Koeverden. And Adam, already looking very summery right there. You got the Olympic rings on. You're ready to go.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a beautiful summer so far. Obviously we've had some rain, and I hope that if people had any damages or anything like that, then they've already gotten started the process at least of reporting and taking photos and getting in touch with your insurance company in the region and that. But other than some weird rain and thunderstorms and some flooding, it's been a really beautiful summer. So I've been enjoying it. My team here has been too, and I hope everybody's having a great summer.
And you are back in Milton. I mean, I've noticed on the socials, my goodness, you are out and about. You are in the community. It looks like you're checking back in this past weekend. Milton Special Olympics, Liam's Mission, Dribble Dreams, among other stops. I'm curious though, as you go to these events, you're very recognizable. People are probably approaching you, coming up and chatting. What type of things are people asking you about? What is on the community's mind right now?
Well, over the last sort of 6 to 12 months, I'd say that affordability has taken, the front seat on the conversation about what the federal government is doing and how we're addressing the challenges that people are facing. And I'd say that things are starting to get a little bit better. Back in January, we saw some reports that we actually saw deflation in some key areas like telecommunications, cell phone bills, even some aspects of grocery. We saw deflation, which is kind of what we need because prices have gotten out of control in a lot of items. But specifically, the actions that we've taken with respect to competitiveness on cell phone bills, telecommunications, so your internet bills, and a couple of other things. They sound like small things, but when you start saving $10 or $20 a month on those bills, it really makes a difference. So when people have been calling, I've been encouraging them to check in with their telecoms providers to see what types of updated price schedules are available because those things are coming down. Groceries, on the other hand, they continue to be expensive, but I've seen some flattening, and I've also seen a couple of items come down. And if you look at the CPI, that's the Consumer Price Index, things are starting to come back down to normal a little bit, which is good. It's heartening. We've also seen interest rates come down. It's worth mentioning that we're the only G7 country with an interest rate cut, which is excellent news for our economy. It means that not only did we avoid the recession that so many economists predicted 12 and 18 months ago, it also means that inflation is coming back down to normal, employment is high and strong. We've got some work to do on some more complex issues with regards to the economy. But it's fair to say that there isn't a country in the world that wouldn't trade their problems with Canada's in a heartbeat. I know that when times are tough and people are feeling a little bit of financial anxiety, telling them that it's worse elsewhere isn't exactly helpful. It's kind of cold comfort, but it's the truth. Canada is leading the way right now in recovery from the COVID-19 recession, and we've avoided that recession that so many economists predicted. So affordability is coming back, but on the weekend, like you said, I made 9 different stops. I was at the Special Olympics divisionals, dropped by the Dribble Dreams, went and supported Sick Kids Toronto with Liam. Just an amazing young guy that lives with cystic fibrosis and worked with his mom for the last couple of years on some advocacy with respect to the drug. It's changed so many lives. People who live with CF who are taking Trikafta really have a renewed lot. Like they're doing so well. And Liam's running around all the time. And for those who are unaware, cystic fibrosis is a disease that affects the lungs. And it doesn't seem to me that Liam's affected at all these days. He's got so much energy and he's just constantly running around, and that's thanks to great pharmaceutical science. But yeah, lots of stops. The Man Barbecue was excellent. The Muslim Association of Milton was amazing. They had a record turnout. A lot of great people made incredible donations, contributions to the food banks, to the Milton District Hospital Foundation. They're an amazing community steward, and they're always precisely putting their money where their mouth is and supporting community serving organizations. So I'd say spirits are high. People are doing well. We're optimistic. Canada continues to be the best place to live in the world, and Milton's the best town to live in our country. So yeah, optimism is how I characterize it.
Now, of course, every time I have a chat with anyone in politics, any leader, housing always comes up at any level, federal, provincial. And it was just this morning that you were out with some good news.
Absolutely. I got to go to Hamilton this morning. I went to McMaster, so it's always nice to go back to Hamilton and to announce some housing money. In fact, $114 million for the Golden Horseshoe region. It's poignant for me because I'm actually the chair of the government's Golden Horseshoe Region Caucus. So all of the MPs from Niagara, Hamilton, and Halton region, we sit down occasionally. I chair those meetings and we talk about issues that are impacting us and our communities. And housing has been a top concern, not just for the last 5 or 8 or 9 years, but for the last 30 years. And as the Minister of Housing, Sean Fraser from Nova Scotia said this morning, it really started about 30 years ago when federal governments, both conservative and liberal, I should say, downloaded the obligation to provide supportive and affordable housing onto the provinces, and the provinces didn't react by saying, yeah, okay, we'll catch that ball. They actually dodged the ball and said it's the regions and the towns and the cities that have to do all that. Well, regions and towns and cities don't have the tax base to be able to build affordable and cooperative, supportive housing, certainly not at scale. So I'm proud that our government has stepped back up and said that was a mistake 30 years ago. We're going to address it. We're going to be the first government in over 3 decades to say, no, housing is a federal concern, particularly on the supportive side. So investing $114 million with repairs, with renovations, and with new housing, that means that things like our Halton Women's Place, an essential shelter that does some of the toughest work, but the most essential work in Milton, protecting women and their children in abusive relationships and situations with adequate shelter. A renovation for 22 of their shelter bed rooms. Got almost $1 million for Victoria Park homes here in Milton for new affordable housing. So the cycle continues, building on the $22.4 million that I worked with the town to get invested here in Milton through the Housing Accelerator Fund. We're making affordable housing a reality, not just here in Milton, but all the way through the Golden Horseshoe region across Canada.
Now, I often, ask you about what you hear from constituents, but with this particular question, I want to know about you and your colleagues, because a few months ago, we heard local MP Pam Damov say she would not run in the next federal election. Just this past week, MP Seamus O'Regan stepped down from his cabinet position, said he will not run again in the next election. I just wanted to get a temperature check from you of what you're thinking going forward in your political career.
Well, thanks, Jason. First of all, I absolutely love my job. I love the team that I've built here in Milton. I love the service and the services that they provide to our community. I love the events that I get to go to, like the 9 that I attended on Saturday, but also the events that we get to host, like our big barbecue on Canada Day, which was a huge success. I also love going to Ottawa on behalf of my constituents and making sure that I'm finding solutions that affect our residents here in Milton, but also persistent ones that are impacting people right across the country. Things like climate change. I love working with experts. I love getting great research done by the House of Commons Library of Research, and I truly do really enjoy the work here in Milton. So I'm absolutely running again. Whenever the election is, you can expect to see my name on the ballot. Now, your question is a little bit close to home. Pam Damov is an amazing friend, an extraordinary mentor. She's my mom's MP. I've knocked on doors with her in her community, and she's knocked on doors with me in mine. It's also worth noting that the ridings are going to change up a little bit as they do every 10 years. And next time I'll run on the west side of Milton, which will include more of North Burlington, a lot of North Burlington, which is currently Pam's riding. So, Pam has been an amazing friend, and she'll continue to be an amazing friend. Our offices are next door to one another in Ottawa. We're on the same floor, and our staffs are very close. So she's been an amazing friend. Actually, I don't mind saying, after the Olympics in 2016, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do next, and I traveled up to Ottawa for a couple of reasons to sit down with some policymakers and to talk about the sport physical activity file. And I made time to go sit down with Pam, and she said, "You know what? You belong here. You should be a member of Parliament." And I thought that was crazy at the time, but here I am 9 years later, and I am her colleague. So she was very encouraging, and she continues to be. Now, Seamus and I have been friends for probably just as long as Pam and I have been. I used to be a broadcaster with CTV, and when I was going to the Olympics, I used to drop by his program pretty frequently, and we became friends, and we used to do a little bit of traveling together. We went down to Chile together once on vacation. So Seamus is an amazing friend, somebody I love very much, and he's taught me a lot about politics, and he's an amazing communicator and an extraordinary leader. So I was sad to see him, say that he wasn't going to run again and resign from cabinet. Steve McKinnon has stepped up to be the Minister of Labour and Seniors, which is exceptional. He's great, but Seamus will be missed. And I understand that family comes first, and it's tough, being away from family so much. And I was talking to Emily about it this morning, and we were just looking at our schedules, trying to figure out when she might be able to come up to Ottawa in fall when I go back, because the 10 or 11 week stretch that we're in Ottawa for and only back on weekends, it feels pretty long. But we're enjoying our summer together here, and I've even said no to a few local events so that we could get dinner together and stuff. Yeah, it's tough though. This job can be hard. It's one that's hard on families. You're away a lot. It's stressful. People tend to get in touch with their member of parliament when they're frustrated. So I have a lot of calls to make that are, my constituents who are upset about something. But that's the opportunity to help that I embrace and love about this job. So yeah, to answer your question again, I'll 100% be running again whenever the election is, whether it's this spring, in the summer, next fall. I'll be on the ballot and I'll be proud to continue to represent Milton.
All right, stamped on in. Well, that's looking forward. I actually kind of want to look back and look forward at the same time as we wrap up here. Nice little button. I can't talk to Adam Van Koeverden without talking about the fact the Olympics are starting this Friday, happening in Paris, France. As a former Olympian and, of course, gold medalist, does this event still bring you excitement?
Yeah, 100%. Maybe even more because I don't have to worry about my own race. I can just look forward to watching other people do their best and their amazing sports. So I'm very proud of the fact that I get to go and be Canada's government representative for 6 or 7 days at the end of the Olympics. So towards the end, the Minister of Sport has already left. She'll be there for some meetings and the opening ceremonies and all of that that's necessary. Our Minister of Sport has duties. And then there's some things towards the end of the Olympics too, some other sport diplomacy, some panels, and obviously some cheering that the government of Canada would like to participate in. So on the 4th of August, I'll head over to the Olympics, and I'm really, really excited for that. It'll be my first opportunity to go to the Olympics since becoming a member of Parliament. It'll be my 8th games. I competed at 4, I was a broadcaster at 2, and I went to the Vancouver 2010 Olympics as a member of the host organizing committee board of directors and chair of the athletes commission back then. So I've worn a lot of hats at the Olympics. I have said before that I've kind of gotten the opportunity to do it all. I won a medal of each color. I was the flag bearer at the opening ceremonies and the closing ceremonies. I've also come almost dead last at the Olympics. So I've had a mixed experience, but when you go to 4, I suppose you get to have the opportunity to do almost everything. The one thing that I haven't done is traveled there as a politician. So I'm looking forward to representing Canada on a diplomatic level and visiting with some other sport leaders and hearing from them about how they're maximizing sport, physical activity, and recreation, but also sharing with them the amazing success stories that we've had by investing in community level sport through my Community Sport for All initiative. Actually, on 2 occasions with this past weekend, through the visits that I was able to make with Dribble Dreams and with Milton Special Olympics, I was able to highlight some national funding that trickled right down here to Milton. Particularly with Dribble Dreams, we invested a couple $1 million with the Canadian Tire Jumpstart Foundation. And guess what? $5,000 went to Ish and his amazing basketball program, which is providing 200 Milton youth with free basketball all summer. It's just an amazing program, and the parents just love it. So the parents are even there. You know, like oftentimes these sport programs are an opportunity for their parents to drop off the kids and like go and do some shopping or get some stuff done around the house. Parents are there participating. So it's family fun, and congratulations to Ish and Dribble Dreams. It's amazing what he's doing.
Tremendous. Adam, appreciate your time. Enjoy Paris when you're there, and we'll catch up with you in the fall once your travel's done.
Thanks, Jason. It's nice to see you. Happy summer. And anybody out there who's interested, we've got a couple of new programs. I know that your viewership might skew a little bit senior. If you are a senior and you're uninsured or your insurance doesn't cover all of your dental and oral healthcare needs, then please go to canada.ca/dental. You can sign up for the new Canadian dental care plan. We've had thousands of seniors here in Milton. We've got dozens of dentists who are offering that program through a new government subsidized dental care plan that will provide you with the basic oral health care that you need. Oral health is health, and our federal government is standing up to make sure that everybody has access to those essential services.